the Champions League final. Vinicius Jr. There's been a lot of hype, especially amongst Real Madrid supporters, trying to push this Vinicius Jr. Ballon d'Or narrative, which is actually funny when you see that they could do that with multiple players like Toni Kroos or even a Jude Bellingham to a certain extent. But it seems like Vinicius Jr. is the one that they want to push for, and it's nice. That's especially when you think about what he's gone through his career ever since he went to La Liga. Some of the racial abuse. It's nice to have a fan base supporting him. And I think this situation, though, amongst the Ballon d'Or gets very tricky with European competition, like European and Copa America international competition, and the Champions League, the club competition. I think no matter what happens this Champions League final, we will not have a clear Ballon d'Or winner till we figure out what happens in this summer. Because let's say Vinicius wins this the Champions League, but he has another struggling tournament for Brazil where he doesn't take off, and they don't win Copa America, and you see Toni Kroos in his final games walks off as a Champions League and European Championship winner, being the caliber of player he is. Well, that gives a strong chance for a guy like Toni Kroos to be rewarded that Ballon d'Or. So it's a very tricky situation, and it's a situation for me that cannot be finalized till we see what happens in these summer competitions. Now, if we want to break down Vinicius Jr., this season he's been remarkable. He's been sensational. He's been dominant. He takes over games like few players have the ability to take over. And when you think about Vinicius Jr. now, you're strategizing to play against him. You're fearing playing against him. You're going into a matchup, and if you're getting ready to play Vinicius Jr., you're warning, your fullback, or if he's lined up, you're warning your defenders. That's the level that a guy like Vinicius Jr. has got to at this point in time, and he's a brilliant player. When you see the pace that he has, his end product now with the goals, assists, the way he can dominate games. I mean, what he did in that 25-30 minute stretch to start off that second half in that second leg against Bayern Munich, just completely dominated them. It just seemed like every time Real Madrid won back possession, they were saying immediately go to get the ball to Vinicius and let him attack, let him work. And he has been very, very important for Real Madrid this season. With the fact that they don't have a number 9, him and his ability to stretch a back line with his pace, him and Rodrigo, both, but especially Vinicius, been massively important in terms of goal scoring, in terms of creating space for other guys. Jude Bellingham, he had his 19-20 goals as number, but a lot of people don't take into the account that Vinicius and Rodrigo to a certain extent, but Vinicius especially, the way he's able to draw the center backs or the fullbacks out of position, that allows Jude Bellingham to make those late runs into the box, to find opening between the center backs, to be in the right place at the right time. A lot of that comes from the fear factor of playing against a guy like Vinicius. I think Vinicius' impact goes more than just the goals and the assists that you've seen. By the way, his goals and assists tally in the knockout stages of the Champions League, his ability for Real Madrid, it just it's been sensational. It's been sensational. And if he, if they win the Champions League tomorrow and he can replicate the form that he has for Real Madrid and take that to Brazil and show the level of play, his ability to dominate the games as Brazil, his end product following him at Brazil, getting goals, getting assists, being as dominant as he is for Real Madrid in knockout stage games, bringing that to Brazil at the Copa America, and he leads them, as he is undoubtedly right now at this point their best player. He leads them as a Copa America champion, bringing that title back for the first time since 2019. That would be a remarkable achievement, and I think it'll be very hard for you to make any sort of case for a guy like Toni Kroos or for a guy like Jude Bellingham. But that's just amongst his Real Madrid players. Now, amongst the world football, I think we're in a little bit of a not the strongest era, but mostly because Messi and Ronaldo, they just dominated it year in, year out. But obviously Mbappe, what he's done this season, 50 goals, 17 assists, winning League One, winning a domestic treble. He'll be in there if he wins Euro 2024 and he's their best player. He's gonna, it's gonna be hard to take it off him. Now, I don't see this happening, but let's say Phil Foden is able to lead England to a World Cup or to a European Championship, and he's starting playing game in, game out, and is their top performer with what he's done already this season for Manchester. Winning the Premier League with 28 goals, 12 assists. I think he has an opportunity there. Florian Wirtz, what he did with Bundesliga, winning the Bundesliga and DFB Pokal, going unbeaten in every single competition all season besides that one fatal Europa League final game. The way he dominated this season, scoring 19 goals and having 21 assists. If he can lead Germany to a European Championship, and he is the best player, and he is the star performer of the tournament, and he has that, breakout tournament. He had a breakout season this at Bayer Leverkusen, but at Leverkusen you don't really have the eyes on you, as much, despite their success, but when you do it for your country at the European Championship, where everybody's going to be watching, all the international attention and media is going to be there, and he does that, not only will he skyrocket his transfer value, which these summer tournaments always happen to do, but he puts himself in that sort of running. Maybe it's just a year too soon. Sometimes it takes, sometimes you win it a year, you get these kind of these sort of attention a year later than a year before. But I could see I can see him a real chance. Now, somebody that I don't think will, be in the running, but someone I think will deserve, has deserved it. I know I'm going on saying a bunch of names, but it is a guy like Rodri. If he can win the Euros for Spain and replicate what he does for Manchester City, being their composer, being their dictator of play, their dictator of tempo, if he can replicate what he did for Manchester City for Spain at this summer, which he'll have an opportunity for, because this is the first international tournament for Spain that he's going to be able to play his role, because there's no Sergio Busquets no more, so they're not going to put him as a center back or anything like that. He gets the keys. He is the main conductor of the team. If he does that, you don't see these kind of players ever win the Ballon d'Or, because it's not really the sexy position. They don't get the goals. They don't hardly even get assists, even though Rodri has shown a capacity to get a goal once in a while. I think he deserves a lot of attention. I'd say attention, because he doesn't have the Champions League, and there'll be guys that potentially might have the Champions League that might have equal to say to that. So it'll be interesting to see. But Yeah, I think Vinicius Jr., if he can win this Champions League final and also do what he did for Brazil, what he does for Real Madrid, and take that to Brazil and replicate that sort of form, man, oh man, I think it's going to be hard to say, to deny Vinicius Jr. that Ballon d'Or.